chasers and tree.
All over purple on the map.
Smart guy.
Old tree, but it just.
This conference will now be recorded.
Doing okay, Mr. Wilkes? There you go. Well, I hope so. I haven't seen anything, so. Everybody down there, Jim?
Yes, sir.
Y'all good? I'd like to call the Board of Supervisors meeting to order. Let's start with the pledge in a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. We do have a quorum. We do need to adopt an agenda. Mr. Dawson isn't here this afternoon, but we'll be back at the next meeting. Anybody have anything we need to add to the agenda this evening? Anything?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman. I believe Vice Chairman will make some notation on your minutes when you
Yeah.
get to that part of the agenda.
Right. What would y'all like to do with the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt the agenda as presented.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Public comment. General public comment. Any public comment? Anybody watching us? 0 people. That's a bummer. We'll do public comment 3 more times, I think. Constitutional officers, county departments, committees, and organizations. Hannon, you want to pass it back to Tracy? Thank you. How do we have such trouble with these? Keep going.
Biggest news I have today is we just got the official word from the governor that we did get our Destination Marketing Organization grant for $10,000. That was sort of part of the surveys we did, and with the Go Virginia grants and getting the planning grant that we got for $100,000. On that planning grant, we hired a wine consultant in our region, who's right now getting his Masters of Wine certification in California. Sounds like a good thing to have. But we were already working on the planning grant. So we got the planning grant as well. So we all individually, or at least Green, Nelson and I, did this. And so I asked for $20,000. We got $10,000 for this one. However, the winning line that was worth at least $1 million to me was, we want the visitor to discover the soul of Virginia wine, see the breathtaking landscapes, sip the handcrafted flavors, and savor the genuine connections. Join us to celebrate the heritage, support local families, and create unforgettable memories in the heart of Virginia. Witness the beauty, taste the tradition, and be part of our story. Worth $1 million, in my opinion, but.
That is wonderful.
Thank you so much.
All right.
So the purpose of that was because visitation to the actual wineries and tasting rooms has been down. Some 10%, some 30%. What we found is a lot of them that didn't have that big of a drop, it was due to the culinary and some of the food that they have, and some of them don't. But to differentiate themselves, Revelation, for instance, has their verjuice, which is non-alcoholic, and they do really great mocktails. So with this grant, we're going to be getting more content, which I'm doing multiple different ways of doing that, but getting photography, videos, that kind of thing, trying to get support there. Also had a ribbon cutting yesterday for Nails by Jen, still have many to schedule. Waiting on the Kriglersville, hearing the word on that, on the industrial Revitalization Fund. We should hear from that in June. We had our business appreciation dinner, turned out great with Bo Grice from the Small Business Development Center, May 19th. And I attended that board meeting today, and we're still holding. We had 4 years as the most productive one in the state. We're hoping to have that again this year. Expo, not greatly attended. I'm going to work on that. We'll see what we're going to do for next year. Getting the VDOT permits for both parades and Taste of the Mountains. Attended all the meetings. And then I did attach the Regional Entrepreneurship Initiative action plan because we're starting to work on a lot of pieces of that as well. Regional Commission may have their annual dinner, we think possibly at Ducard this year. Stay tuned for that one. Another AFID grant possibly in the works too, a smaller one. And I'll be away in Smithfield next week at the Virginia Leadership Institute. And I did attach the Facebook dashboard just to show the spike because I happened upon it, I wasn't looking for it. But we had 99,000 views in the last month, up 76 or 78%, 76% over last month. So that's a pretty big spike in people planning to come. And also working with the Arrivalists, that can tell you when a certain device has been in your area, where it came from, where it went while it was here, and where it goes after. So that was part of the grant that I got as well through Virginia Tourism. So I'm going to get a lot more of that information gathered too to see where we want to advertise next. And we are on the back cover. I got a deal for Blue Ridge Outdoors, so when you see that next magazine, we're on the back. Had the Valley call June 5th, helped some residents with Firefly information, and also attached the final draft of the relaunch Madison town information. And I did, if anyone's interested, part of the Go Virginia with the Wine part, it's virginiawinecoalition.org, has all of the information there on everything that we're doing. And that is all I have for today.
Seems like a lot. Anybody have questions for Tracy? Congratulations on getting these grants, Tracy. Thank you. Ms. Warren?
Good evening. A couple updates for the board. FY26 budgets, we have sent out to all the department heads the approved budgets for the departments as well as their approved capital. We have loaded the budgets into Munis. We're working on year-end review and tracking, getting things set up for the new fiscal year. I also have spoken with the audit team on the FY25 audit schedule, and we are getting dates nailed down sooner rather than later so we don't have a late audit again. They're planning to start early to mid-November. We'll be getting firm dates once I check with the team to make sure that they're available on our end. Then we have financial policies. Jonathan and I have been working through our financial policy updates. We'll be presenting those to the board at an upcoming meeting. And on the upcoming FY26 loan that we talked about during the budget process, I've been working with the financial advisors to get the schedule for that, and we'll be presenting that at the next board meeting.
Questions for Ms. Warren? Thank you, Ms. Warren. Annette?
How are you? So May the 24th, we had our rabies clinic. We vaccinated around 30 animals. May 31st, we had an adoption event at PetSmart in Culpeper. Weaver Works completed the concrete entrances to a couple of our play yards. The next step is to order a couple benches for our larger play yard. We took in 20 strays, 18 surrenders. We transferred in 20. We had 7 reclaims, 16 adoptions, 9 transferred into rescue. In-house, we have 6 dogs, 5 cats. Our numbers show more. That is because I have 5 in the Charlottesville PetSmart, and I have 9 kittens adopted into homes. They are just waiting to meet weight so they can be spayed neutered.
Good. Questions for Annette? Thank you, Annette.
Thank you.
Ashley?
How are y'all?
Will?
For the month of May, total calls taken and received to include administrative and 911. 69 home phone calls received on 911. 471 wireless calls received on 911. 2,067 administrative calls taken and 1,208 administrative calls made, making the total call through the center was 3,815. Percentage from the same time frame as last year is 87%, and percentage year to date from the same time frame as last year was 81%. As far as calls for service, For the month of May, we had 1,090. Year-to-date, that's 5,326. CFS percentage year-to-date compared to last year is at 96%. We had our staff ask about getting route numbers incorporated into our mapping system. Right now, it's just road names. We have a lot of callers call in that don't know the road names. They just know it by the route number. So we're working with our mapping vendor and our GIS representative to get that incorporated. As far as staffing, we have one vacancy. One dispatcher is at the training academy currently. She should be completed this week. Once she's completed, we're hoping to have her do a ride along with EMS next week as part of some continued training to see how our other first responder agencies work. As far as community outreach, I've spoken with Valerie Ward. We're planning on doing a joint effort to have a school supply drive. We're going to hopefully do that for the month of July. And once we have all the donations, we'll give them to DSS and they'll distribute because they have a program where they give out to families in need. So, and also I wanted to introduce Jennifer Shiflett. She was selected to be the assistant director, and she started May 14th.
Well, congratulations. Glad to have you.
And that's all I have.
Anybody have any questions for Ashley?
Thank
Ashley,
you.
Thank you very much. Sheriff?
Good afternoon. Short and sweet, we had approximately 800 calls on the law enforcement side this past month. We've had 2 deputies complete the academy. They're in the FTO period at this time, and we'll still have 1 vacancy in the process of doing interviews for that. I have beside me Mr. Randy Campbell, so when we get down to the school speed zone issues, he's the guru. He'll be more than happy to answer your questions. Any questions from the board?
Anybody? No, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Noah?
Good afternoon. May was busy, 208 calls. I was proud to see our response time went down to 8 minutes, even though we had more calls. Continuing to help our mutual aid partners, NUA occurred 16 times for a total of 12 hours, 2 minutes. We're working on recruiting 2 FTE positions. I do have a good lead on 1, so hopefully we'll have that filled soon. We had a homeschool station tour on May 20th, and thank you all for coming out to our open house. It was a good community event, and thank you again for a renovated station. Turned out very well. Standby events, so we did Graves, a couple Woodberries, and then the music festival. We had a good joint training with the fire department. We had 2 internal training classes for ventilators and a program called RSI, but it's an internal thing for critical care paramedics. And then I was really proud. We were recognized by the American Heart Association for our stroke and heart attack care and earned a national silver medal for that. So good stuff going on. Thank you. Any questions?
Anybody?
Chief, if I may, Mr. Chairman, do you want to make brief mention? I know you're in the thick of it, you're doing a good job of leading it, but about our OMD recent notification?
Yes, sir. Sunday, I got an email that our medical director is resigning from all agencies. So that was interesting.
But that's pending, that's not until August, right?
Correct. Yeah, he gave a 2-month deal. But so I'm working with one medical director at UVA, having to go through UPG. It's a process, but I feel confident we'll have a medical director before August.
That's on you, that's on our unit here to get an OMD?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I thought I understood that up at UVA it was just, okay, the next man up, it's your turn in the barrel, so you got to do it. But that's not the way it works, huh?
No.
And
But,
you cannot run without a medical director.
Correct. Our backup, which we won't have to do, we can always default to the state medical director, but we'll have it filled.
Good.
Yeah, no panic, just information,
No,
so you
we're
know
not.
there's a change of names. And depending on if the new OMD wants a salary, the current OMD was gracious and said, I don't want to salary, but I want to see that money used for things, so we'll see how that goes. But mainly wanted to notify the board.
It's a shame to lose him. He seemed like he was
Oh,
very good.
100%.
Yeah, big loss for everybody. Anybody else have any questions for Noah? Noah?
He can refer someone to us?
No, I actually reached out to 2 OMDs that we've had before, and William Brady, and 5 minutes later, he sent me a guy, and that's who I'm talking with.
Good.
So,
Good. Anything else for Noah? Brian? Thank you, Noah.
thank you.
Good afternoon. Currently just working on personal property, business tangible property, getting all those processed. We are continually moving forward in a conversion into our new real estate software. I'll expect that to go live July, maybe early August, with our concise camo software. Have that out there. So nothing groundbreaking. Any questions?
Do you have anything for both
Other than,
employees?
so was last night the last Board of Equalization meeting?
No, they'll continue to sit until December. So
Oh,
they'll,
wow, okay.
Yeah, there's 4 cases already scheduled for July, so we still have some time for the next meeting. But yes, they held their first meetings beginning in April, and we've had one every month since.
Okay.
About 8 to 10 parcels per meeting so far.
All right. Any other questions for Brian? Brian, thank you. Mr. Cave?
Good evening. Calls for service recently, but they have increased a little bit. Handled in person was 83, handled by phone 111, and after our emergency calls decreased to 27. Ian Collier, he attended a Zoom meeting where they discussed and recommended changes to seizure of any livestock, part 1, and then there's going to be a part 2 in July. And been monitoring a couple of bills that were presented that were actually passed that we were definitely in favor of. One is where the large animal veterinarian grant program. It's where the state veterinarian's office will provide grants to help increase the number of large animal veterinarians within the Commonwealth. So that's good. And next is the compensation of livestock and poultry have increased within the code. Any person that has livestock, poultry killed or injured by dogs that doesn't belong to them, that increased from $750 to $1,000 per animal, and fowl was $10, increased to $25. So definitely in favor of those. Any questions?
Questions for Mr. Cave? Thank you, Greg.
Yep, thank you.
All right, Alan.
You don't sound very thrilled about that.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Go ahead.
Okay, just some quick highlights. Mr. Smith, Richard Smith, started on June 2nd with the IT department. He has hit the ground running. That week I was in Motorola training, so Bruce took on the onboarding. That was basically our first week of getting him into the know. Here's the processes. Here's your access to everything. Here's what you're going to do. Second week, we've really started on the meat of the matter, so he's getting into the backups. He's looking at everything. We're moving right along on that. Bruce has shifted into his consultant role, and I'm currently taking on a lot of the roles that he was doing and immersing myself in all the fun of that. Just as a just so everybody knows, all of us now have been trained on Tyler. Me, Federico, and Richard, we all have access now to handle Tyler issues, so hopefully we will expedite any Tyler tickets because sometimes they take a long time, and we don't want that to happen. Last thing I'll touch on is we are hoping to get the server migration project started a little bit earlier than was expected. We are working with Dell and the vendor to move that up a significant chunk, so we don't have to start in August, essentially. But I'm happy to go into more detail if anybody has any questions.
Questions for Alan?
No, sir.
See, that went pretty well. All right. Mr. Welch, please.
Well, good afternoon, Board, and I will give a shout out to Alan. We've had some difficulties with Tyler, and I threw him on Alan, and he's taken care of them so far. He's found a way to get them to do something for us, so I'm happy about that. Still got that one issue, though, right? But in the building and zoning department, you know, the zoning and planning administrator's been busy with PDRC, planning commission, various BZA cases. For some unknown reason, there's this big uptick in complaints. Both building and zoning, they're flooding in left and right. So they complain, we have to investigate, and we just move forward. E&S, the monthly DEQ report is there, and I'm sure everyone knows, work at Hoover Ridge has begun, and Joe's been monitoring that. On the building side, the monthly permit reports in there along with the inspection report, and it was kind of an uptick. We had 168 new permits issued last month, and we performed 332 inspections, and it's probably a little bit low. We have still a few in the old system that are not trackable, computer-based. And let's see, I just got a notice today, this is never ending process. You know, we adopted a new code in 2021. Well, the 2024 has just opened up. They're beginning that process. And there was a few glitches, I would call them, or issues in the 21 code, and I've been trying to work through those. I've been talking to the state building codes office and a lot of building officials, and there's some, I call them mistakes. That's all I'm going to say they are. They don't like that word, but we've worked past them. We've found a solution that makes sense. We're trying to meet the intent of the code. Some of the language in the code was incorrect, so we're meeting the intent. And then last but not least, we have our new zoning and building permit technician started a little bit back, Stacy Meredith. I believe she's attended some meetings with y'all, and she's in sponge mode right now, absorbing a lot, learning a lot. She's fitting in real well with the team, you know, and that's critical in our department. We have to have a team, and she's fitting right in. I'll take any questions if you have any.
Anybody? Please.
Just real quick, Jamie, the report here is great. There's a lot of information here, but how many new builds do we have, like new buildings as far as new homes, compared to, like somebody's just doing a remodel? Do we know, is that broken down in here?
I believe it is, and I don't know what it is off the top of my head. I could get it to you, I just don't know.
Yeah, I
what
just
it
wonder,
is.
like in our reports, or when we
I mean,
talk
the
about-
report's very detailed, and it
Yeah.
spits out a lot of information, probably more than anyone wants to look
There's
at.
so much there, I just couldn't.
I
find
know,
it,
it's
but-
either give a real condensed version or give you everything. And since it's electronic, I figured it doesn't hurt anything. It's ones
Yeah.
and zeros.
I think what would be great is to know, like, new builds each month to see if it's either going up over time or if it's going down over time.
I
Be
mean,
interesting to know.
just from a recollection, it feels pretty much similar since I've been here. It's been pretty steady.
Steady,
I mean, just before the code change, we had a huge influx. Everyone was trying to beat the code.
right?
Then it tapered off a month or two, and now it's back to where it's kind of been. I got like 2 or 3 sitting to be reviewed, and I've been told more coming, you know.
One last question. What is the biggest thing in that new code compared to the old code that you have to worry about, or that the builders have to worry about?
It all deals with some big electrical changes and energy efficiency. Apparently, at the state level, that's the only thing that matters right now. That's all they care about, it seems like. And I shouldn't say that, but they're over the top on energy.
Gotcha.
And I'm all for saving energy, because that's money.
Yeah.
But got to be a limit. I mean, we could make maybe a net zero house, maybe, but the cost would be ridiculous. We've gone to the extreme so much that the next code cycle that we're going to adopt, they've rescinded some of it, brought it back down,
The pendulum's
installation
coming
levels.
back.
Because they found out it was maybe over the top.
Thanks.
Other questions for Jamie? Jamie, thank you. Tilly, how's HR or complaints about Allen?
Everything's good. We had 3 new hires start on June the 2nd. Last month, I went to a training, and also today I did a training on a webinar on BRS. Just to stay up on some changes, in July coming up, we will have to cover dispatchers, all dispatchers for their short-term disability. So I'm just learning and taking some webinars and things like that.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Tilly? Tilly, thank you. All right. I think we've gone all the way around. Consent agenda. We do have we do have minutes from 5/13/2025, 5/24/25, and then 5/27/25. I understand that 5/24/25 needs to come out and voted on separately since Mr. Yao wasn't at the EMS open house. We do have the supplemental appropriation number 24, 25, and 26 that we could do with the other two motions excluding, or other two minutes excluding 5/24. Anybody have any questions on those supplementals? What would y'all like to do with leaving out the one?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the consent agenda exclusive of the 5/24/2025 minutes.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Now, we do have the 5/24/25 minutes we need to address.
I move that we adopt that, or that we approve those. Appropriation 20, sorry.
I'm sorry.
5/24/25, thank you.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
And I abstain.
There you go. All right, no special appearances. We do have two public hearing speed zone cameras. Mr. Weekly, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. You may recall several months back, a couple things occurred. One, the sheriff had made a request for some speed camera enforcement on Route 29 along that corridor. The state code does allow for speed camera enforcement. It has to be done via ordinance, or some places choose resolution, but the state code allows it for construction zones and school zones. So this specifically is a request to do so in the school zone. You had some public input before the ordinance was drafted, just to gauge to see what the public input was like, and if the board wanted to at least continue to move forward and review and consider the draft ordinance. So you have two things before you tonight, Mr. Chairman. You have the draft ordinance, which essentially this creates a civil process, a fine structure, if you will. So if you're going to do this, it has to be codified. So that's what the ordinance is for. And then there's a contract with Blue Line Solutions, a draft contract that has been prepared. Legal has vetted that. We appreciate Mr. Campbell being responsive to those questions by legal. If the board so chooses to enter into the contract, the authorization would be given to the sheriff to enter into the contract with Blue Line Solutions. So that's all staff has, unless you have any other specific questions or comments for me.
Anyone have any questions for Jonathan or Hannon on this?
So it's been reviewed completely, and it's all copacetic, it's good.
Both have, yes. So in my mind, the only question is the should, not whether you can.
Mr. Jewett, do you have a question on this, comments?
No, I was going to ask really a rhetorical question of the sheriff. I guess the speeding problem hasn't mitigated any, has it? I didn't think so, especially after living on Route 15. No, I think if this is recommended by the sheriff and it's hopefully can save somebody's lives, I think it's worth the effort of us doing this.
Sheriff, anything to add to this before we go to the public hearing? Yes, sir. 30 minutes in the morning, 30 in the afternoon.
Probably about maybe 45.
There you go.
Just depends on the lighting system, yeah.
Yes, sir. Please.
Also, I think, just to keep in mind, is that, this would be, if we do it, it's probably at least a 3-year project. If it wanted to be rescinded, we'll still have some contractual obligations, so we need to think of it that way. And then, of course, as always, we're subject to the General Assembly. They've allowed the county to do this. They could change it. They could change how funds get used or where they go. So just keep those things in mind.
Yes, sir.
Sheriff, so is this also, does it cover when somebody's having a basketball game, if we have basketball games, football games, off hours that way, or not?
Yes, sir. I'm sure we can do some changing with that, but right now it's the, as you know, years ago, we used to have a key to operate the lights, and VDOT decided to take that key away from us. So now it's set up everything, the lights are through VDOT. So If it's something available, be a safety issue for us, I'll be more than happy to look at it with Mr. Cannon.
And I believe, just to go into further depth, the timeframes we're looking at would be 7:45 to 8:15 in the mornings and 2:45 to 3:15 in the afternoon. So that would be with school letting in and letting out hours.
Yeah, there you go. So it can go, yeah, understood. All right, further comment from the board or administration?
Just one question,
Please.
Mr. Chairman. As this goes in, is implemented, and as data is being collected, are we going to receive summary reports periodically as to whether speeding has slowed down? Just to gauge the effectiveness over time.
Sheriff?
Yes, you will receive a monthly report, and I will be happy to forward it to the board.
Thank you.
Carter?
Well, I mean, Sheriff, I was just looking at it during our public hearing that we had about this. So under Chapter 26, Section 26-2, number 1, it's talking about system and school crossing zones and highway work zones. I guess, is that just boilerplate language that comes from
Yes.
the Virginia Code? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Because, you know, I've been out telling everybody, no, we're not going to be putting speed cameras, you know, all over the place. This is for the schools because that's what they wanted.
That's correct. That's
right?
correct.
So when I saw that, I was like, okay, so. I'm
All right.
good.
Other comments? All right, to the public. To the public. Any public comment on ordinance 2025-5 or authorizing the sheriff to sign this contract? Anybody?
I've got a few things about the contract. We're gonna split those up.
For Mr. Barry, for the online,
Split it up.
is there the ability to drop in the chat to see if there's any public comment? Oh, yeah, no interfacing with the, okay. So no one's interfacing with the GoToMeeting, which would provide public comment.
All right, so I've been corrected. Just on the ordinance 2025, any public comment? Seeing none, back to the board on just the ordinance 2025-5.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve ordinance 2025-5 as presented.
I second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, now the contract.
Yeah,
Please.
I've got a couple of things.
Go ahead.
Well, here's a real easy one. Look, scroll to page 302 of our package, if you would. Who's driving? Jonathan?
Kim.
Kim? 302. And see E, termination for convenience?
For 302 in the packet?
Yeah.
PDF 302?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm not.
This is page 4 of 25 of the blue line.
All right, thank you. That'll help us.
contract.
So it's 307, Kim.
Oh, all right.
Paragraph E, sir?
Paragraph E,
Okay.
the last 4 sentences, which will be retailed by BLS. I think that's retained. No real big deal, but I think the word is retained. The
Hammond?
municipality will forfeit any outstanding payments due, which will be retained by BLS, I believe.
Paragraph E, the third to last word in that final sentence. So it's saying outstanding payments, comma, which will be
Okay. My next one was, it looks like the term "the agency" and "the municipality" are used interchangeably. That's fine? Okay, all right. That one. And then under Exhibit C of the contract, which is on page 19 of 25 of the contract itself. I remember we were going through all this stuff as that, you know, who collects what, who pays what, and all that stuff. It says, the second sentence says, in compliance with the Virginia Code, Blue Line Solutions does not charge a per summons fee, but is rather compensated for providing all related equipment, maintenance, and support services and stuff. And then you go to the next page under number 2, and you're talking about program choice, A or B. And I don't see where in this contract A or B are specified. One is a fee for service. Huh? And then the other one is the monthly thing. The municipality, A says municipality agrees to pay BLS a fee of $25 per incident, blah, blah, blah. The next one, the municipality agrees to pay BLS a monthly fee of $3,000 plus $15 per incident. So are we, did I miss it, or are we supposed to choose A or B?
My understanding was we were going with A.
Yeah.
So we can, I'll let
Yeah.
Randy correct
Randy.
me, but I think we're just
Yeah.
gonna circle that as part of this.
Okay. All right. Then the last thing, 323 is for mine. 320. Okay, so attachment B, which is page 25 of 25. After reading, you know, what the fees said and, you know, who's gonna be reimbursed, so the reimbursements are gonna come to the county, and then we turn around and, no, you all will take your fee out of it before the reimbursement comes to the county? Okay, and then, dear chief or sheriff, look at the question, everybody. If the city, county, or town issues a number of citations, accruing a fee for each processed citation and payments for those citations are insufficient, such that the revenue does not cover the processing fee, will the locality owe the difference? And I think we talked about that way back, and the answer was no. I don't have to go much further, but it explains the no after the answer. So after reading all that stuff, I was thinking, okay, so Sheriff, now nobody speeds anymore, and yet they're gonna be, you know, they're gonna be operating this system at their expense, so how does that work? And I think that takes care of it, right? Okay, that's all I got, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other comments? Annan, any response to any of that?
No, I appreciate,
Yeah, absolutely.
Mr. Yow's feedback on that.
But it carries over.
Yeah, it will carry over, true. I was just thinking, in the likelihood that nobody speeds anymore, what happens?
Yeah, you won't, yeah.
You don't know my daughter.
Oh, yeah, we all got young kids coming up, so that won't happen, right?
Easy, I got 2 driving, sir.
Okay.
We're,
It would appear that that's not going to be a problem. All right.
And Mr. Yao, we made sure to put the attachment at the bottom of page 20 on that contract, and make sure it's to incorporate that last question and
To
answer
capture that?
you-
Yeah, okay, thank you.
All right, anybody else? To the public. To the public on the contract with Blue Line Solutions. All right, back to the board. What would you like to do with the contract?
One thing before we
Please.
start, which is, this will be a contract between, not the sheriff's office and Blue Line, but between the county. You can authorize whoever you'd like to sign it, but it will be a county, not a sheriff's office contract. And then it's done through cooperative procurement. I think White County was the one that originally had this.
But we are recommending that the sheriff will sign this.
Is that right?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the contract with Blue Line Services and authorize Sheriff Weaver to sign the contract.
I second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you all. All right, fantastic. Employee bonus draft ordinance. Mr. Weekly?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This came up recently where the General Assembly allowed for a 1.5% bonus to certain locals, whether it's constitutional offices and primarily your local DSS officer. While there are state agencies, there's still local departments thereof. Ms. Ward was kind enough to bring that to our attention. So in order to do so, and Mr. Wright has reviewed this as well, it's done via ordinance. So you have that in your packet. It's my understanding through Ms. Ward, and Ms. Warren can correct me if I'm wrong, that they don't plan to use any local monies for this bonus, I believe. However, this ordinance would be the controlling factor to allow for that, which the General Assembly allowed in the amended budget. If you so shall approve, there's also a certification form. I would need you to authorize me to sign that, and I would send that back to the state DSS office, so everything would be kosher, and if you approve the ordinance, then those bonuses could be then distributed.
Hannon, anything?
Yes, so from my research, it appears that there's sort of two ways to skin this cat. There are some counties that will pass an ordinance each time that there's a bonus, and then it sort of fills their books with, you know, in 2010, firefighters were given this bonus. Other counties have done it where it's just generally a board reserving unto itself, per the code, the ability to do these. And so I went with that one because I thought it was cleaner and simpler. I will tell you that the last line on there, the board may do so by resolution after a public hearing, not required by statute. I just thought it was consistent with how we do business. And so I put that in there, but that is subject to y'all's discussion. But this is what I thought was the best way to approach this.
Ms. Warren, anything to add? Any questions for Hannon, Jonathan, or Ms. Warren?
So I got one quick one. So going forward, the next page here, I'm sorry, the next page. Keep
The
certification.
certification
The bonus
bonus
certification.
goes to right
That
there.
one. So that would continue, Hannon, to be in the purview of the board to have Jonathan sign that every time a bonus comes up, right? We've got the ordinance that covers putting the certification out.
Yes.
When and if we do bonuses.
And then we would, when those come up, we'd have a public hearing. You all would
Yeah.
decide whether or not to in fact do it in that particular case,
All right, so that,
and then it would be finalized.
Just transparent beyond belief.
Yeah.
Is all this is really enabling.
Okay.
Which is what we should be doing.
And you would also have information during your budget session as well. So there would be expectations, or not, I shouldn't say expectations, it's whatever the General Assembly gives you. So it would be known then of what you would, have to budget for, and then this would be the public input period to do so.
Other questions? All right, to the public, and I am combining these. Ordinance 2025-6, and then also the authorization to give Mr. Weekly to sign for us. Any public comment? Any public comment? No public, yeah. All right, back to the board. What would y'all like to do?
yeah, Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve ordinance 2025-6 and authorize the county administrator to sign the FY 2026 local government bonus certification.
I second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. There you go. Thank you. All right, no old business. We do have some new business. We have the Lions Club, 86 years of service.
So, Mr. Wright, if you could hand that microphone to Miss Long right here up front, wonderful Miss Suzanne Long, and I will do a quick tee-up for her. I had the pleasure of the Lions Club caught me while I was at the expo and informed me that 86 years of service. I think I had it off. I was only tracking 50, so way off. I needed calibration. And we are grateful for the Lions Club, like many other wonderful nonprofits in this community that do wonderful work. There has been a resolution, I think, Suzanne, for the language that's been provided to the board to consider approving, recognizing all the good work. We did invite Ms. Long here because there are specific things, and we're going to put all those in the resolution, but I thought it was important for her to speak to some of those detailed examples that the Lions Club has presented. So if you would, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to hand it over to Ms. Long, and then after that, if you don't have any questions, if you'd like to move forward with the formal resolution, Ms. Long, if the board approves that resolution tonight, I will be happy to attend your upcoming meeting to present that on behalf of the Board of Supervisors. So, Mr. Chairman, if you would,
Please,
Ms.
Ms.
Long.
Long.
Mr.
It is on. Thank you, I appreciate it. And thank you so much for considering the resolution. I just wanted to point out some numbers around the things that the Lions Club has done, and it's just for this fiscal year. We do vision and hearing screening in the Madison Public Schools. Last fall, 2024, we screened 498 students for vision and referred 71 for complete eye exams. We also screened 501 for hearing and referred 24 to the school audiologists. What we do is an initial sort of eye check to see if there are possibly some kinds of vision problems, and then we send them to an ophthalmologist or an optometrist to have a complete eye exam. We will pay for those as needed by families in Madison, and we also pay for glasses for children that meet the requirements in Madison. We recycle eyeglasses. I suspect you have seen our boxes. We have a great big box at the Food Lion. Those glasses are cleaned and read. The prescription is read, and if they are then tagged with that prescription, and they are sent nationally and globally for those folks that need glasses. And there are many countries, third world countries specifically, that are delighted to get the glasses from Madison County. And we have recycled hundreds and hundreds of them. We don't even keep track. We recycle so many. And thank you to the county for continuing to give us their used eyeglasses. We started doing holiday food baskets probably, I don't want to say 86 years ago, but probably 75 at least. And we've been happy to do that with our partners now at the Madison Food Lion. They give us good deals on the groceries for the holiday baskets and always make sure that they can meet our budget, which is a little tight. But this year we were able to provide 8 food baskets, and that included 18 adults and 22 children with an average household size of 5 members. We get the names from our partners at Madison Head Start, who the family coordinator there provides us with the families that are really in need of that. So we have enjoyed doing that activity. This year, the Head Start family coordinator told us that there was a 6-year-old in Madison County who needed a bed. That this family situation was that this 6-year-old had to share a bed with various other family members, and that was not a good situation. So we said, yep, we're happy to do that, and thanks to the wonderful internet and Amazon, that we got the whole thing online and delivered directly to the house in time for Christmas. So that was quite a good activity. We also included some child-appropriate linens, bed linens, and so there was quite excitement on Christmas Day when the 6-year-old got a new bed. We participated with another partner in Madison, Aging Together, and we underwrote a RAC card for them, which is what resources are available in Madison for seniors. And we were happy to join with them in that activity. And finally, as Jonathan has mentioned, this is our 86th anniversary, and we are thrilled to celebrate that. Yeah, that's a funny year, but we've got some brand new members this year, and we're starting some new service activities, and we feel like we're on a roll, so why not? And who knows where we'll be at 90 or 100, so we're going for it, 86. We also participate with a lot of other nonprofits in Madison County, including the Senior Center, the George James Community Center Foundation, MESA, the Literacy Council. We provide an online diabetes training program for the school staff, including their administrative staff and bus drivers who need to know what to expect with a diabetic child. We also participate with the Lions International Leader Dog for the Blind and a program called A Ball for All, which are soccer balls for visually impaired children. And they don't have an electronic device in them, which was a problem with original balls. So now an actual soccer player has developed these balls that are appropriate for children, and we are participating in that activity as well. Let me make sure that I've covered everything. I have a second. Oh, yes, and the Madison Award that your Cardi Yao, Supervisor Yao attended, that's a big, thank you very much, Tracy, that's a big part of what we do every year, where we acknowledge and encourage volunteer activity in Madison County. And Madison is loaded with wonderful volunteers. A lot of people go unheard of, unsung, but they do a lot for Madison County. And Lions are responsible for coordinating that volunteer recognition, and we're happy to do it and thrilled to be able to do that. We also help Tracy with the Taste of the Mountains in the early mornings, directing the vendors to their locations on the street and helping some of them set up and explaining why the road is closed and why they may not drive down Main Street even to get to Front Royal. Anyway, I am happy to answer any questions that you have about Lions Club that I can try to answer. We are thrilled to be able to celebrate our 86th anniversary. We're hoping that we'll get some families of our charter members since 86 years. They're long gone, but we are hoping to get some of these families to come and attend our anniversary party as well.
How many active members do you have?
Thank you for asking that question. We have 12 really active members, which is to say that a lot of clubs have 40 members and 6 show up. We have a really good core of 12 active members.
Great. Other questions from Ms. Long?
No, other than
Yeah.
Suzanne, Supervisor Jewett accompanied me that night too.
Oh, yes, he did. Thank you very much. You are correct. Thank you.
It was a good meal. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Well, thank you for all you do.
Yes. 86 years is amazing. And kind of going around meeting with all these civic organizations, seeing everybody coming out, and you talk about the people that are kind of unsung heroes of the community. We really have just bunches of them, and they don't want any credit, and they just do so much for everybody in Madison. It just makes you thankful, be even more thankful to be here. Thank you for what you've done at 86 years. And
You're welcome, and thank you very much for the acknowledgement. Appreciate it.
That's big. What would you all like to do with Resolution 2025-11?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt Resolution 2025-11.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, Ms. Long, and thank your club as well. Jonathan, you're going to go present this thing? Yes, sir. All right. Are you trying to get out of paying for the meal or what?
No, my real boss, Cindy, will be
Good. Good. No, great. All right. Thank you again. Capital budget appropriations 2025-12. Mr. Weekly?
To help if I go on the microphone. Thank you, members of the board, and really Ms. Warren. She pours over these numbers all the time. How numbers don't all line up, I don't know, but she does a very tremendous job. So, as you may recall, throughout your wonderful lengthy budget work season, as well as your recent adopted budget, during your budget adoption process, your adoption includes the capital budget as well as your operating budget. But as you move forward to appropriate, that's what you're considering here, the nights that the funds are available July 1st. We do those separate. So you have a resolution for your capital budget, and you also have a resolution that you'll get to momentarily for your operating budget. The capital plan we have here before you, again, it's been all discussed during budget workshops, adopted by the board at your last meeting, I believe it was. There's various capital categories, if you will. CARP is included in this. So really, that's all I have to add, other than to thank Ms. Warren again for putting this together, and to see if you have anything you would like to add about the resolution.
I think you covered everything. It is the total capital budget, including funds from rollover as well as the current FY26 funds. So it's the entire capital budget that was approved.
Questions about this appropriation and resolution?
No, that's the transfers that the rollover from last year, right?
The transfers,
Less
that's the
transfers.
school transfer, what we send to the schools. Theirs is 1.85 million for capital.
Yeah.
And then ours,
Ours was,
yeah, from the general fund, those are transfers.
All right. Other questions, comments?
It was just a tough year, Mr. Chairman.
Just
And I mean, work you did and the work that Ms. Warren and Mr. Weekly and Mr. Yao did was phenomenal. Get that thing pared down. Just bare bones.
What would y'all like to do? It is. Teamwork is what gets it there, and common sense in Madison. 2025-12.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve Resolution 2025-12.
A second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Now, we've got operating budget, 2025-13. Mr. Weekly, anything to point out?
Just again, thanks for all the work that's gone into putting that together. I know it was a lot of effort, but again, like you said, bare bones. I also wanted to recognize Supervisor Jewett, and we did include it in the last minutes. Excellent budget analysis. I think anyone could appreciate that, and I believe we put that up on the website, and well, I know we've also circulated amongst department heads, so I do want to recognize that great analysis. But nothing further, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Warren?
Just to add that this is the entire county budget, schools included, CSA, DSS, all funds.
Thank you for all the hard work. What would y'all like to do with 2025-13?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve Resolution 2025-13.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Excellent. All right. Seemed like that season lasted a long time this year. It was a lot. A lot. All right, Bald Top Brew, and it'll be back here very soon. Bald Top Brewing Company firework permit application. Mr. Weekly, everything in order on this?
Everything is in order. Kim has sent this around to the public safety group. I didn't see anything back that had any concerns. There's not a large scale required for this because it will not exceed 300. I think they're expecting 200 to 250 as far as a number count. So pretty standard. I think they've been doing this for the last probably at least 3 years. But it is at your purview for review and approval.
Anybody? What would y'all like to do?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the firework permit application. Southern Exposure Pyrotechnics County Administrator is going to sign that.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. Discussion. Do we have any discussion?
No, sir.
Information and correspondence?
I will just say, and I think in my notes, I think we were going to bring it back sometime in the near future, but at some point we'll have to pick up the discussion about setting a town hall date. I think we talked about maybe August. We do have a site tour lined up for early July for a data center. I know there'll be a lot of more information to pour into that. So whether the board chooses the next meeting, the second meeting in June, or if we want to shoot for a meeting in July to set that date, but at some point we'll need to set that town hall when the board is ready to do so.
Let's think about town hall. Let's think about talking about that at the first meeting in July. They'll work, and we'll come up with a time frame to do this in August that works for everybody.
And I would say to think of venue too. If you want to use this, certainly this is your board chambers. If you're expecting a lot of output, do you want us to request the school, whatever, I would just throw that out there when you're considering a town hall.
In the Economic Development Committee, we'll have a preliminary report for you to look at, and then we'll have a final one to look at to present at the actual town hall.
Yes, sir. Good. Anybody else have anything?
I have one thing that we met. I wanted to thank Mr. Jackson. He did post that tax analysis that you just referred to on his PJ News site, which is very helpful. It increases the outreach to the public so that they can be better and have a better understanding of what we're trying to accomplish here in the county. So thank you, Mr. Jackson, for doing that.
All right, other information and correspondence. All right, back to public comment. Back to public comment. All right, no public comment and no closed session. I think we're all in agreement. Dustin's been slowing down these meetings for years. What would y'all like to do?
Move to adjourn.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank y'all.